Welcome to 4th and 1, the Super Bowl 53 edition. I'm sure everybody's waking up from a nice nap after the Patriots 13-3 victory against the Los Angeles Rams. It's so nice when you see an underdog team that everyone had, cast aside and given up on, come through like the Patriots. I mean, I can't think of a better story since Gene Hackman led Hickory Sycamore, whatever the hell they are. When Gene Hackman led them to the Indiana State title in Hoosiers, I can't think of a more stirring tribute to the enduring spirit of competition than Tom Brady and Bill Belichick finally getting that 6th Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, sounds great, Todd. And if that's how we're going to open the podcast, might as well just pack it up.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm serious. Not just Super Bowl, Nick. When's the most? That's the most boring football game you've seen since what? Any game the Titans played this year?
You could say that for a handful of Titans games, but you could really
the 6-0 Jaguars win against the Colts.
You could really say that about. I felt like I was watching a preseason game for about half of it in terms of excitement.
Yeah, no, it was not good. It was not good. Lowest scoring Super Bowl in history.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
First Super Bowl in history without a touchdown in the first 3 quarters. Fewest points scored by the winning team in history. And the Rams, led by noted offensive genius Sean McVay, matched the Super Bowl record for fewest points in a game. Can you name the team that they tied and the Super Bowl that they also scored 3 points in?
I want to say the Patriots Bears in '85. They may have scored 10 in that game. I'm not.
Yeah, that was 46-10.
Okay, so you know what, Todd? I'm going to have to give up on this edition of Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah, we stumped him. The Miami Dolphins lost Super Bowl 6 24-3.
Oh, yeah, way before I was born. That's cool.
Yeah. So that would have been what, like the year after the perfect team, I think? I think that would have been
I'm start
73.
Asking you stock market questions before you were born.
I know them all.
Yeah.
I can tell you what the stock market closed at every day in its history.
Okay.
That's not even true. I don't even know what the stock market closed at Friday.
I'm aware.
I believe in time in the market, not timing the market, Nick. So
I'm sure you heard that somewhere. So
yeah, I know. It's
Wall Street, the movie or something.
T-Row Price commercial or something. All right, guys, we don't really want to talk that much about the Super Bowl. It's a bummer for all of us. I mean, the Patriots won again. Good for them. Yeah, great. Now let's hope that the Chiefs can go rattle off six touchdowns and 9 appearances over the next 17 years, right?
Well, the biggest impact that this could have in this regard is now that the Patriots have won the Super Bowl. I mean, traditionally they have the Super Bowl winner host that Thursday to open the season, and I know Adam Schefter of ESPN speculated this morning that the Chiefs Patriots have a strong
Mahomes Brady, of course.
That's there's also speculation.
That's also assuming Brady comes back.
He's coming back,
which I think he will. Yeah.
He will, as long as that offensive line coach, Dante Scarnecchi's there. He'll come back.
I don't know.
He will. Once Scarnecchi bounces, he'll bounce too because he'll get beaten like a human pinata.
Well, and I'm serious though when I say this. And look, they won the Super Bowl. No real thanks to Tom Brady though. I mean, he didn't exactly have a great game. Didn't throw a touchdown. The defense clearly won this one for him, but he definitely looked older. I mean, and look, so maybe that's why he was doing all those things like making up all, dropping the mic and screaming, "We're still here." And so maybe he's trying to convince himself because I think it was clear. And this is the first time I really felt you could say that. I mean, I know there was a time Tom Brady tried to run out and catch a pass in last year's playoffs. I think, in last year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, against the Eagles.
Yeah, and he looked old and slow, but he is old and slow. And it's not like it's not like anyone ever confused him for Michael Vick, but this year in particular, I thought you could really see Brady's age. And look, kudos to them for winning in spite of all that. And look, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. The six Super Bowls, he's won as many as any other franchise. He and Belichick together have won as many as any other franchise. They deserve all the credit. and all the accolades they're going to get, even though we're all going to be sick of hearing it. But he looks old, So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he retired in the offseason, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be back. I think you're going to get Brady Mahomes that first week. And hopefully it'll light the powder keg for the Chiefs. And a year from now, we'll be talking about the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl.
That's what everybody's hoping, and that's the expectation of a lot of people. And since they moved on from Bob Sutton, that's what a lot of people are expecting.
No pressure, Brett Veach, but it's Super Bowl or bust. Nick's already cut the brakes on this train too.
This is a massive offseason for this organization. The expectations have probably not been this high since 97, 95 or 97, I think.
All right.
93 too.
Yeah. We can talk about that a little bit more down the road. But first, the man who's going to host the Super Bowl party next year after we win it at his mom's house, Gloria Rudd, you're put on notice. Let's hear from Paul Rudd. And, he got to have some fun this weekend.
He definitely did, and he got to catch up with her Mick Schaefer down there at the NFL Honors.
Paul Rudd definitely had some fun down there in Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, Mick Schaefer caught up with him at the NFL Honors, and he still personally was not over the AFC Championship game.
Who is?
Nope. Yep. No. It takes a while, and I see all of the pomp and circumstance and the excitement.
Yeah.
And you guys get it. Don't you feel a little bit like you're at your ex-girlfriend's wedding?
That's exactly it.
There was a lot of build-up, and then just off the...
And then she goes and gets hitched to somebody else.
The Patriot. So what is should Patrick Mahomes be like the next Marvel superhero? I mean, all the stuff he did this year. You could have him in one of your movies.
I mean, that guy would be the strongest one out of everybody.
Right.
He can just do no wrong.
Right. Yeah. Would there have been a kegger at your mom's house had the Chiefs made the Super Bowl like the Royals?
There might have been 2 keggers.
Oh man!
Yeah,
big time.
That thing would have lasted into the wee hours.
Last one for me. ESPN had the most famous Kansas fan out there as Rob Riggle the other day on a broadcast. What is happening with that?
Well, that's just not true.
Right.
I get it. He's on every Sunday.
Yeah.
So he is a big Chiefs fan.
Not a Marvel character, though.
No, he's not.
No.
Not even close.
No.
But he is a Marine. He was a Marine.
Yeah. Probably threatened him.
Yeah. What else? He was.
Done nothing else.
That's it, right?
Cool high school, right? He went to a good high school.
He went to KU.
South.
He went to South.
Yeah.
Went to KU. I actually knew him at KU. Yeah. Rob's a great guy, and he's a big Chiefs fan. And I love actually his on Sundays whenever he's doing his little dog and pony show before the game, that he's always kind of wearing something Chiefs, and he represents. So he's legit. He, Stone Street, Sudeikis, Keckner, all those guys. I love them dearly, and we all are diehard Chiefs fans.
All right, well, that was Paul Rudd talking about.
There's not many times you're going to get Paul Rudd, So when you have him on the podcast, you got to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like Paul Rudd. I'm not going to tell you the Facebook fan page I made for Paul Rudd. I mentioned it to him one time. It was a good time. Let's just, he comes in. He does. They do their little dog and pony show with the Royals to benefit children's.
It's a fantastic event, charity that they put on.
Yeah, but he's just talking about dog and pony. But to benefit Children's Mercy and stuff like that. They've been doing that for quite a while. God, it's got to be getting close to 8-10 seasons. They've done it. They've raised millions.
They've been doing a long.
Raised millions of dollars. They always have bringing people to do the All-Star game out there and stuff like that. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go ahead and side with Paul Rudd though, and say that Ant-Man is more famous than Rob Riggle.
Well, I guess we'll have to tweet this to Rob Riggle and see if he agrees with you.
Or why don't we just go real controversial and say we think it's David Keckner?
I mean, he is.
Although he's not a KU fan. I think it was a KU fan though, so I don't think that'd work.
I don't know. What do we got football wise?
Anyway, moving on. So what did you think? Look, obviously the Rams lost.
Yeah.
But the Patriots scored 1 touchdown. They finished with 13 points. If the Chiefs had managed to do that, they would have been playing in this game. So what did Wade Phillips do that Bob Sutton simply couldn't?
He attacked. That's the first.
I mean,
thing.
yeah, they got upfield, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, Wade Phillips did it in the 2015 season, 2016 AFC Championship game.
when he was at Denver.
Yeah, when he was with Denver and the Broncos went to the Super Bowl that year and ended up winning. The biggest thing is that the Chiefs played the Patriots the week before, and Sutton refused to attack, wanted to play zone, predictable in coverages, and that's a theme because then he did it again in the AFC Championship this year. And both times, Wade Phillips literally did the opposite of the game plan that Bob Sutton called. Switched defenses up to where you didn't know if that was zone, if it was cover 2, cover 3. It was just variations to where Brady didn't really have a good feel on it for a majority of that game. And they pressured Brady in a way that not many people have this season. And they took full advantage of the 2 weeks of preparation. And that's why the Chiefs were at home watching it, and that's why the Rams were on the field.
And to be clear, it's not that the Rams never played zone. They still played zone in this game. It's just that they actually disguised their coverages and got creative with the things that they were doing, and they gave him some looks. You know, you heard Patrick Mahomes talk all week, all year about unscouted looks and giving them something they weren't prepared for. And especially early in the game, it offers an opportunity to confuse him. First pass of the game, they did it. They gave him a man look. They dropped into a zone, and they ended up getting an interception out of it. Didn't end up paying off because the offense was terrible for the Rams in this game. But
and that's a tribute to Belichick and what he did defensively.
Oh, yeah, masterful job. I mean,
what he did against the Chiefs and the Rams in back-to-back weeks. He earned the Super Bowl. This is
well, I mean, look,
Super Bowl.
they did give up 31 points in the second half to the Chiefs. So, but to shut out an offense that led the NFL in 35.3 points a game. In the AFC Championship game, and then come back, shut them off in the first half,
right?
And then to come back and shut out the Rams, who led the NFC in scoring at 32.9 points per game in the Super Bowl, and effectively shut them out for that game. I mean, they gave up one 53-yard field goal, and then I think Zerline missed one toward the end that was a little bit, a little bit closer in.
It was a prayer at that point. They were just trying to.
But I mean, just a masterful job by Bill Belichick. And look, I mean, I don't think Steve Spagnuolo is going to be on that level, but he doesn't have to be for the Chiefs to get where the Patriots are right now, which is getting ready to plan yet another parade in downtown Boston. Of course, we'd have our parade here in Kansas City.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Spagnuolo, Clark Hunt talked about
got the owner.
Yeah,
the owner to talk about him.
The new defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo. Let's hear from Clark Hunt and what he had to say about it.
Well, we're excited to be able to bring somebody like Steve in, somebody who has a lot of experience as a defensive coordinator. He also has head coaching experience. He's going to bring a new scheme, and we just felt like we needed to make a change and head in a different direction. Andy Reid thinks he's a tremendous teacher. The two of them have a great relationship, and I think it'll really help us as we go forward in 2019.
All right, so that's Clark Hunt talking about Steve Spagnuolo.
And the key thing he said in there was a new scheme. So you get the owner saying it on the record now.
Well, look, we all knew though, right? I mean, Spagnuolo.
I'm just saying you get the owner to say it on record.
Well, but Spagnuolo wasn't going to come in and be like, you know what? I'm a 3-4 convert now. I like what Bob's been doing. Let's keep up the Sutton defense. I can just do it a little more effectively.
I'm just saying, you officially got it on record. If you were still wondering, you don't have to wonder anymore.
I mean, do we think Clark has that kind of influence? All right. Well, hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back and talk about some things that were a little bit more exciting from this week here on 4th and 1. Welcome back to 4th and 1. Kids, if you missed it on Saturday, the Chiefs finally have an MVP. Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,097 yards and 50 touchdowns this year. He was freaking amazing. Throwing no-look passes. He's dropping dimes all over the place. The kid could not have had a better – in fact, I don't think any first-year quarterback has ever had a better season than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Dan Marino was pretty darn good as a rookie. But I'm not even sure there's many people in that conversation. And to cap it by winning the MVP, deserved, right?
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, the only guy that I can think of in recent history that had an impressive season that took him to the same level was Ben Roethlisberger when the Steelers, I can't remember if it was his rookie year or around there when he was a young starter. They went 15-1 and went to the AFC Championship game. And that was kind of his It was kind of his growing point, and he went against Patriots that year in the AFC Championship game, if I remember correctly offhand. So, Tom Brady and the Patriots always hanging around in those stories.
Well, that's okay. They won't be much longer. Or at least Brady won't. I don't think Brady's going to be playing, past 45.
Who knows? Who knows at this point?
So we've got, maximum 4 more years with Tom Brady. But, for Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP, to me, is just it's an incredible accomplishment.
He's the first Chief to do it on the roster, and the first draft pick the Chiefs have had to do it. So, that's history in itself. And he's the first one that Andy Reid has had win an MVP while he's been a head coach in the league.
Here's the only problem with it. Like there's literally almost nowhere to go but down for Patrick Mahomes.
That's what you think, man.
You either win a Super Bowl and throw for 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns, or people are like, he didn't really have a good year. He was only so this year.
Hey, if he gets him, like you said, if he gets him a Super Bowl, it's all that matters. That's what he's after.
He set the bar at 50 touchdowns. That's insane. All right, let's hear from Patrick Mahomes and his thoughts on the MVP.
It's awesome. Like I said, I got put in a great situation. I got to learn behind a great quarterback last year in Alex Smith. I got to be on a team with a lot of playmakers that have helped excel my game and make me look really good on a daily basis. And then be able to go out there and just win football games in front of a passionate fan base is something that I get the luxury of doing. And so, it is an honor. Like you said, it's a hard award to win. Next award I hopefully I can get is a Super Bowl.
I don't think that's an award, but we'll take it.
See, look at that. He just won NFL MVP. He had one of the greatest seasons we're talking about ever. And all he's worried about is the next step of going to the Super Bowl.
No, and that's why, it's hard to find a flaw in this guy's game. We can parse things, but when you throw 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, it's hard to complain. It's hard to you're picking nits at that point, about things he can improve on. I'm even more impressed with his personality and the way he carries himself and the leadership qualities he shows, and just the focus that he has, and what he chooses to focus on week to week. I marvel at it. I really do.
And I thought our good friend that's been on the podcast before and was a Hall of Fame voter this weekend,
Therese Paylor.
Yes, I knew you wanted to say his name, so there
Therese.
you go.
I do like saying Therese.
Therese had a great article at Yahoo Sports you can check out where he talked about Patrick Mahomes' support system with his family and his agents, and also he got Travis Kelce to go on record to talk about that halftime speech during the AFC Championship game, and what he had to say and how he carried himself in that locker room and how he told them that they were going to score 30 points in the second half, and
which was not true. They scored 31. Okay.
Well, he went above even the goal he set for himself in that locker room. Okay. But anyways, Patrick went out there and Patrick, he
walked the walk.
Yeah, and I said this when we did the podcast, and everybody kept saying, "No, you never know if you're going to get back to the Super Bowl. No, you never know if you're going to do this or that. You got to take advantage while you're there." And I kept saying on the podcast that I was like, him getting to the AFC Championship game was going to be crucial for his development long term to have that experience. So if he was able to do that, he was able, and I know it sounds bad to say, but he was able to feel that pain and being that close to it and almost having it and getting it taken away from him. And I think that is going to fuel him and this franchise to be excellent and to demand excellence of themselves, because that's something this franchise has been desperately trying to find since, in my opinion, since '93, to where mentally everybody has the same laser focus and they get to a certain point and they have a certain intensity and they have a refuse to lose. And that's why the Patriots have done as well as they have for so long, because they have Belichick and Brady that are able to instill that in the entire roster no matter what players they have. And Patrick's kind of taken that step, and Eric Bieniemy's been a really good part of it, and we'll see what Spagnuolo can bring to it. But at the end of the day, I think what Patrick going through that experience of the AFC Championship and the heartbreak of it, and a lot of these players on the roster, that's what they needed to experience to understand this is a level you play at, and this is the pain you have if you don't.
Yeah, but I just, back in 2001, Tommy didn't have to lose his first one to go on to a great career. I would have been just fine if Patrick didn't have to go through the pain.
But that's the reality we're in.
So speaking of painful, our man Therese Paylor gave an impassioned plea, impassioned speech, and the net result was that everybody did what they were supposed to. They listened to Therese, and they elected Tony Gonzalez to the Hall of Fame. Worthy choice, in my opinion. I mean, I think he's the greatest tight end in NFL history. I don't know if we're ready to put Gronk in that conversation. I think Tony had a longer peak than maybe Gronk did, but obviously Gronk has the championships that Tony's resume lacks. But I think just in terms of skilled player at the position, hard to find somebody who was better than Tony. I mean, I guess if you want to get into blocking and stuff like that, obviously Gronkowski was always a more complete tight end. Tony took a little more time to become a decent blocking tight end. But where do you think he ranks among tight ends all time?
Yeah, I mean, from the tight ends I watched over the years, Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp were arguably the two best of their era. Yeah. And then now the new era, Gates came along after Tony, and then he took it to a new level, and Kelsey's been able to take it to a new level. Gronk has been able to kind of maintain the position, but he, in my opinion, he hasn't really necessarily revolutionized it or taken it to a new level. He's, like I said, he's been able to help maintain it. But yeah, I mean, Tony at the time, I mean, what he was doing on the football field, I mean, teams, after they saw what Tony did, teams were looking for basketball players. I was
going to say, did you know that he was a basketball player at Cal?
Yes, thanks. Thank you for that. Thank you for that dynamite drop-in. But yeah, I mean, Tony helped change the way people looked at the position and how they approached adding that player and utilizing that player to where you couldn't match him up with safety. You couldn't necessarily match him up with a linebacker. You had to figure it out in between and try to find a happy medium to get it done. So, I mean, Tony's a revolutionary guy in that regard, but, had some interesting comments this weekend.
Well, let's hear from Tony G and what he had to say after being elected to the Hall of Fame. Canton.
The positive one or the negative one?
Well, we're starting off with the positive one.
Okay.
The fans in Kansas City, and I love Atlanta. There's some diehard fans in Atlanta. But there's a lot more diehard fans. Everybody in that city is nuts for football, and the support they have for their players is unparalleled as far as I'm concerned. And every time I go back to Kansas City, just to see the familiar faces and the welcome back, Tony, it's a city, but it's a small town feel. And so you love being supported by them, but I also love giving back to them.
And here's the pain. And let me just take you back. Do you remember the first 2 to 3 years of Tony Gonzalez's career as he was becoming one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history? What was one of his big issues?
Oh, man, that first year he had a lot of drops and he couldn't block.
Boy, he dropped the ball so hard, son. I mean,
and he talks about it.
No. I'm talking about dropping the ball when he was asked about his time in Atlanta. And I mean, Kansas City fans, and I think rightfully so, feel like he threw some serious shade their way. Let's hear that clip too.
You know what, Falcons, honestly, it made my career to come here. It really did. Nothing against Kansas City. I was there 12 years, but only 3 playoff games. But when I got to Atlanta, it's like all of a sudden now you're part of this winning organization. We're on TV every week now. I'm doing Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football games. I love it here. I love being back here.
Yeah, I kind of want to know, like, if Tony ran into Clark Hunt after making that comment, like, how'd that conversation go? Because he basically, I don't think, obviously he's very complimentary of Chiefs fans, but he kind of trashed the organization, man.
Well, in what that kind of stems back from is in 2008, whenever he was ready to move on with his career, and I know the Eagles and Packers were both involved in maybe trading for him, and he wanted to go to the Giants, I believe, at the time. I remember Carl was asking for a third-round pick for Tony. And
former Chiefs GM Carl Peterson.
Yeah, Carl Peterson. And whenever it came time to the moment of truth, he bumped it up to a second-round pick to see if anybody would take it, and nobody would. And I remember Tony being very upset about that, and Jay Glazer documenting that very well. And then I remember in 2009, He didn't want to be traded, and then Pioli accommodated him. Scott Pioli, former Chiefs general manager, who's with Atlanta, he accommodated him, and then Tony was able to move on with his career down there. And the Chiefs got a second-round pick back, I believe, for it, and that was Javier Arenas. And
worked out well.
And then Javier Arenas got traded when Andy Reid got here for Anthony Sherman.
Yeah.
So that's how that whole trade
To the
situation
Cardinals,
weaved its way through.
I
And then Tony wanted to be traded again in 2013 when the Falcons were struggling, and the Chiefs were one of the teams he was interested in going to, and So I mean, I'm not surprised by Tony's comment because he's always kind of.
What strikes me as just odd in that situation though is, I mean, he won one playoff game with Atlanta. I mean, I know they went to the playoffs more frequently during those years with Atlanta, but he never got to a Super Bowl with them. He did get to taste one playoff victory with them, but it's not like it was a career-defining thing. And maybe the fact that I grew up in Kansas City, I'm looking at this through red and gold glasses. But, I mean, I think I understand why Chiefs fans feel upset, because for a lot of Chiefs fans, especially Chiefs fans 40 and under, Tony Gonzalez is their favorite player. It's either Tony or Derek Thomas, or maybe Patrick Mahomes now. But for the most part, it's Tony's high on the list. I mean, he's one of the top 3 all-time favorite Chiefs, I would say. And for him to, kind of take a dump on that, I think that, fans were hurting that moment when they heard that, man. I get it. I mean, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I know he really tried to walk it back on social media Sunday morning after the vitriol that was spewed his way. I mean, because people are talking crazy now. They're about wanting his name stricken from the Ring of Honor and stuff like that. I'm not going that far. I think it's also important to point out he was talking to a reporter from an Atlanta TV station when he made the comments. So I think that context is important, but I get why fans are upset.
Social media is a very powerful thing, and Tony
choose your words carefully. Yeah, and look, let's be honest. Tony don't care about your Twitter rants. All right.
Apparently, he did with that video Sunday morning.
So, but I'm saying, I mean, but he doesn't care about each individual one. Like but yeah, no, he definitely. I think he realized that it kind of came off wrong. So. Anyway, not the only player with Chiefs ties to go into the Hall of Fame. And here's the other interesting one. I mean, Curly Culp got in a couple years ago, but so did Johnny Robinson this week. Johnny Robinson played cornerback and fullback on I believe on the Chiefs Super Bowl team.
Yes.
And now 6 of the 11 guys on that defense are in the Hall of Fame because Johnny Robinson made it in. So let's hear from Johnny Robinson and Clark Hunt and their reaction to the Chiefs getting a second guy in there.
It was certainly a thrill and an honor to be selected, But I told people that I don't want anybody to spend 46 years, to be able to get in the Hall of Fame because, but when I got there, it was well worth it.
Well, it's long overdue. Johnny was one of the foundational players for the Chiefs going back to the 60s and 70s, a key player on both of our Super Bowl teams, one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game, 57 career interceptions. It's hard to believe that he's not already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, led the NFL in interceptions in 1970. He was a fantastic player for some fantastic teams. Very worthy nomination, and
that's just insane that like 6 of the 11 starters on that Super Bowl defense are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
you won't see that on a lot of NFL defenses over the past 50 some years.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that there won't be 6 Hall of Famers from this year's Chiefs defense.
you really climbed the top of that tree.
That's a sturdy limb, sir.
Yeah.
All right, that limb did not come down in the snowstorm.
A thing I think the Chiefs fans need to prepare for now is the possibility that the Chiefs are in the Hall of Fame game, and that maybe training camp starts a little bit earlier this year because they're in the Hall of Fame game.
We'll get to that in the C block, sir. We will get to that in the C block.
Fine.
Welcome back to 4th and 1. Nick Jacobs over here trying to jump ahead. He's the one who made the rundown, and it clearly says we're looking ahead to 2019 in the C block. And here you are trying to jumpstart the preseason like the Chiefs very well may. Because, look, it comes down to Denver's got owner Pat Bowlen and Champ Bailey going in the Hall of Fame. The Chiefs have 2 players. Atlanta's got Tony Gonzalez. But they're not going to have the Chiefs and Broncos play each other in a preseason game.
And I mean, technically, Ty Law played for the Chiefs for a couple of years.
True, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Ty Law, you got to include him too because he did. I mean, granted, we got washed up Ty Law, but he did put on a Chiefs uniform.
Still put on a uniform. I want to know how many Ty Law Chiefs jerseys.
It was about 3 years after we needed him, and I remember I was still excited when we got him. But
oh yeah, he did well in terms. That was that 06 playoff game that you always
it doesn't count. It doesn't count as a playoff.
And he had an interception against Manning.
But we got the Chiefs. We got the same version of Ty Law that we did of Darrelle Revis, man. And we did not get peak Ty Law.
And if I remember correctly, they both played for the Jets too. Like
they did. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So
and the Patriots.
Yeah, no, they have similar. I got a whole story. We can talk about it off camera about anyway. But looking ahead, I mean, we already kind of talked about, hey, they could be in the Hall of Fame game. It'll probably either be Chiefs Falcons or Broncos Falcons. And if that happens, the Chiefs get an extra postseason or an extra preseason game, an extra week of the preseason to get ready for that.
But if you're in the NFL, do you want to have the chance to market Patrick Mahomes? He may not play in the game, but you want to at least have the chance to market him for a series versus come see Case Keenum or maybe Drew Lock.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I mean, if look, you're going to see starting from now until through next year, you're going to see Patrick Mahomes everywhere. And I mean, I want Chiefs fans to be prepared for this. As much as you love Patrick Mahomes right now, you are going to get Patrick Mahomes fatigue between now.
It's going to be like that Peyton Manning commercial.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, I mean, he is going to be everywhere, like everywhere. I mean, he is going to be the first truly transcendent national star that the Kansas City has had since maybe Bo Jackson. I mean, is he the last? I'm trying to think of who else it would be.
Yeah, it'd probably be Bo because Marcus Allen and Joe Montana weren't at the time.
No, I mean, I don't think they were. Yeah, I don't think they were national stars, so to speak. Certainly not in their prime.
Derek Thomas, I don't remember him having a ton of national.
No, and I mean, look, George Brett was in the spotlight, but that was more '80s, and his career was kind of winding to a close as Bo Jackson was rising to national prominence. Obviously, cut short. But I'm thinking of like the 1989 All-Star game when Bo Jackson just shook the world with the plays that he was making and stuff like that, and the leadoff home run and everything. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is it's been since then that we had a guy at that level, but Mahomes is going to be there this offseason.
And I'm fearful he's going to be on the Madden cover. Brady was able to break it.
And y'all, then you keep saying like, oh, I was fine with him just getting to the championship game, and you and Therese always want to but I'm telling you, they put him on that Madden cover, and all my worst fears are coming true, man. All right, don't do it.
I hope but I like I did put on Twitter. I could totally see them marketing it and being like, hey. On this new Madden edition, we're going to have the no-look pass and throw with the opposite hand.
It's going to be ridiculous. And I'll say it again. As long as it ends up with us getting a Whataburger, I'm fine with it.
And a Super Bowl? Or just the Whataburger?
I've said it all along. If we get a Whataburger, that alone is grounds for building a statue.
All right.
So the Super Bowl would just
be... anything else you're looking at to in 2019, Todd?
Well, I mean... We're halfway to our medical deductible, 1 month into the season, so I'm excited for reaching that goal.
I meant more Chiefs, not your personal family.
No, I mean, look, I'm excited about the draft and what's coming. I always get excited about the draft, like it's like opening a present, on Christmas, and I like seeing how the pieces come together. Of course, there'll be some free agency before that. And so
got some tough decisions coming up here, cap wise, that we'll be diving into in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that because I mean, obviously, What's going to happen with Eric Berry is a question out there. Will Justin Houston restructure, or do the Chiefs have a decision to make there too? There's lots of interesting things that are going to happen. And then, you're going to have to watch defensive players. Who do they? Are there some guys that they feel like just won't fit the new system and are going to have to be let go? Or are there some guys who, because of injury and other issues, aren't going to fit into the future plans? What are they going to do with a guy like a Mitch Morse, who I think has value, but maybe they don't want to pay him if they don't see him fitting into the plans as a starter next year, and they don't want to pay veteran money for a guy who's going to be a backup when they've already got 13, 14 million sunk into to Cam Irving in the contract they signed him to in August. And obviously LDT with the big money deal they signed him to a couple years ago. Lots of interesting things to get into, and we're going to talk about it all in the coming weeks, right? Yeah, we're going to have that, and we're going to obviously start diving into some draft stuff here in the next couple of weeks. And it's I don't want to give too much away, but you and I are going to be writing some articles and doing some podcasts, and Chief season for you and I never ends. It just, you don't have game film to analyze of actually that week. No, and I mean I don't want to name names, but you and I both know somebody else who really likes to talk draft stuff, and is going to have a little more free time than he normally does coming up. So I know, and him and I we agreed we're going to go see John Wick 3 when it comes out. Oh, what, Baby Yaga? I mean, he's a big fan of John Wick. Do you want to join us for that movie? Or will your family let you? It probably depends on the day, but yes. We'll try to do it. Well, you and I have the same off days. Yeah, so, I mean, we can. Yeah, well, we can make this work. He'll work it out. I'll bring my 4-year-old. Well, you leave him at the daycare. All right. Well, hey guys, we hope you guys had some fun. We hope you're not too sad about the fact that the Patriots won again. It's 2019. I'm moving on, man. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm ready to go now. No, I mean, yeah, I think get ready. This is easily the best chance the Chiefs have had to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, I think. So if you can't get excited for that, even though the season is still, 6 months away, but let those thoughts fill your head as you go to sleep tonight, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. Nighty night. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, Nick.